Labour candidates, once they have had the vote, that's the last time you see him.
Right.
Now with this one, at least you'll see him every week in his office, twice a week. So if you want anything, complaint or anything like that, you can go and see him.
You felt the Labour Party was somewhere else. It wasn't interested in you and things around here.
We had Foot, Michael Foot.
Yeah, and an Aaron Bevan.
Oh, no, we're talking about a different kettle of fish.
Right, you think there's a difference?
I mean, he was a man for the community.
You're looking at the socialist Stonehenge. These are the so-called Bevan stones, which were put here to commemorate the spot on which Aneurin Bevan, the great godfather of British parliamentary socialism, used to organise public meetings. Now, just over there is the former steel town of Ebbw Vale and the post-industrial South Welsh valleys, which are still a byword for the Labour heartland and the party's core vote. In this constituency, Blaenau Gwent, though, something remarkable happened in the build-up to the 2005 election. An all-women shortlist was imposed here by Party HQ and a whole section of the Labour Party broke away. They're now known as People's Voice, and the Labour Party no longer has the local MP, the local Welsh Assembly member, and it's lost control of the local council. Now we're here to look forward to the next election and get a sense of whether the Labour Party can break back into this former safe seat, one of the safest seats in England or Wales, or whether this particular bit of the Labour heartland is lost forever.
On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Hide the blue tack. Look casual.
Davies is Blaenau Gwent's People's Voice MP. He took over from the late Peter Law, who wrested the seat from Labour 4 years ago.
Morning, Mr. Day.
It was the safest seat in, I think, 5th in Britain, the first safest seat in Wales by a mile. So they've lost a jewel in their crown. They're desperate to get it back. And we'll do all that we can at this moment in time to hold on to it. Although there was a schism at the start with the imposition of a single-gender shortlist, it's grown into much more than that. It really is where the Labour Party moved away from democratic socialism. These valleys were built around those values, values through coal and steel, values of real people. And I think the party now is a dictatorship. It dictates down from the top and doesn't listen or consult to the people at the bottom.
What the Labour Party says now about People's Voices, you've got this dramatic possibility of a Tory government coming over the horizon. So every Labour vote and every Labour seat is going to count in order to reduce the possibility of David Cameron taking power, and therefore People's Voice, albeit unwittingly, is an accessory now at the possibility of Tory government. What do you make of that argument?
The easy answer to that is check my voting record, and you will see that on more occasions than not I vote with the government, as long as they put forward socialist beliefs.
How do you feel about the prospect of a Tory government and what it would mean for people around here?
The people around here would probably see very little change. These values have suffered, as I've said, not just through the Thatcher years but through the Blair years. The steelworks in Ebbw Vale has closed twice, both times under a Labour government. Ask the people around here who closed the most pits. It was probably the Labour Party rather than the Tory Party. Now, I don't want to see a Tory government, I want to see a socialist government. And if the Labour Party comes back to the people and listens to the people, then the socialist government will return.
Can you politically marry up what people here demand of politics and what people in marginal seats in the southeast and the Midlands and all that want?
I think so. I think the core value of people in this country is basically the same. We want decency, we want good wages, we want an opportunity to get on. And that's a big word, opportunity, because what I think we've lost in places like this is the opportunity.
Excuse me, Nan. Lovely girl, have you got a minute?
No.
Oh, all right. I'm Nick Smith, I'm the local Labour parliamentary candidate.
Right.
In the middle of Ebbw Vale, Labour candidate Nick Smith, Davies' rival at the next election, seems to be campaigning hard.
It's a massive symbolic seat for Labour. This is now Bevan's seat. Labour wants to win this back, and we're going to work as hard as possible to do that. We stand on the shoulders of giants, but because of that, we know it's a Labour seat that we can win back because we represent the values of local people.
The values of local people being?
Well, Warrateg, Welsh phrase which means fair play and social justice, and they're words we use all the time around here. And because Alun and I have both got local voices, we're both from Tredegar in the constituency, that goes down well.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd hear many Westminster Labour politicians talk about democratic socialism, for example. Is that a good idea? Is that a good campaigning tactic around these parts?
Well, you know, John, in Wales we never stop talking about democratic socialism. You know, I'm a member of a socialist government in Cardiff, and we are delivering socialist policies, and we're not shy about it either.
In Westminster, the story was very different. If you look at what Tony Blair was doing at the public services and the war in Iraq and all that, people perhaps were right to think that the Labour Party had gone somewhere very, very different from all that.
But devolved government is about being different.
Tell me
It's
about
about,
Westminster. Westminster made your life much more
devolved-
difficult, didn't it?
I think we made our own lives more difficult for all sorts of different reasons, and for sometimes some very right reasons, but it happened. Now, in Wales, we've got devolved government and we do things somewhat differently. We've got a very different approach to the health service and to education, for a start, in this constituency and elsewhere. Those policies have proved largely popular.
As and when you're elected, do you think part of your job will be pulling the Labour Party in Westminster maybe slightly further towards the kind of values that you see in the streets that people talk about around here?
And you know what? I'll be proud to do that. And fingers crossed, when I get in, I'll be talking about anti-poverty agenda. I'll be talking about investing in early years. I'll be talking about making sure this constituency is top of the list for investment.
Given the sort of botch that was made of the selection process in 2005 and the fact those wounds are still raw, do you at some point have to say sorry, do you think?
You know what? They are raw for some people, and some people still are cross about it. But that was 6 years ago when Labour went through that selection process, and now people are coming back to us.
Well, it won't be Labour.
Right. Has it been Labour in the past?
Oh yes, my father was a miner.
Well, the thing is, it's too late now. We've
Really?
lost the works, right?
Yeah,
there was no
it's the
fight.
steelworks you're talking
Yeah,
about.
there was no fight from the Labour.
Is there anything that could get you back? I mean, Gordon Brown now is going out of his way
Oh, come on now.
to try and get the
no.
so-called core vote back. He's talking about taxing the rich more, you know,
rubbish,
talking about
rubbish,
Tory
rubbish,
talks,
rubbish,
helping
rubbish.
people at the bottom, the many,
No.
not the few, and all of that.
No, I don't believe that at
Really?
all.
You're one of the few Conservative voters in Ebervale.
Well, I still am.
There aren't many of you around.
I don't want the Conservatives to get in,
Ah, that's interesting.
so we probably vote Labour this year.
You'll go back.
Yeah.
I've voted Labour all my life, so I'm going to carry on voting Labour.
You're not going to stop. So next election you'll be voting Labour?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Gordon Brown will be pleased to hear that. Thank
Good,
you.
I don't care about going. I don't give really a monkeys about them.
Right.
Honest. They're all just...
But you still feel Labour's on your side,
Yes,
though, really?
yes.
And what's the evidence around here of Labour
Well,
being on
the
your side?
Conservative time the last time when Maggie was in.
Right.
That speaks for itself.
What, carry on voting Labour?
That's right,
thank
thank you.
I've been unemployed now for 6 months. I work in a local manufacturing factory. I think Blaenau Gwent is one of the worst counties in the country for unemployment. You know, it's in the top 10, so just nothing happening in Blaenau Gwent at the moment.
Right.
I don't think that the Labour government got anything in place that's benefiting me at the moment as an individual. I just sort of at the crossroads at the moment. Who to vote for the next general election?
What are
Definitely
your
not
options
Labour.
as far as you understand?
Probably independent party. I would
Okay, so
imagine.
people's voice in other
Yeah.
words. And you feel that they might make a difference? I mean, they're a lonely presence. They haven't got many friends outside Blaenau Gwent. I'm not sure how their influence is going to work.
I think it's a case. Obviously, the Tory government were in for years, and things went down the pan, and then Labour swept into victory in '97, and nothing's changed. Right. It's got worse. So, I mean, I think for the common person in Blaenau Gwent is probably, well, let's try something different. We've got nothing to lose.